Okay, so there is a part 5, and I'm gonna finish up. I'm extremely lazy, and so I don't rehearse these. I use a few notes, but I don't do it extensively because I'm too lazy. I'm real smart, but I'm also real lazy. So, Feynman thinks Polycom at 18 is acceptable. Over time, she's somebody who's willing to hold on. She would prefer to hold on, and she won't buy things for a trade. I would not buy this company at 18. But given the people who are acting like they're on acid, speed, and Valium sequentially or simultaneously, who rule the markets, someday it's going to sell for 14 or 15, and I'll buy it, assuming I'm still alive. There's a company called Acom. I've made some money on this over since it was recommended by Kramer in 2007. It was the biggest thing I've ever gotten from him. We have different temperaments, so his views not appropriate for me. But this is something I'd never heard of, and it was it came public at a time when the market was crashing, and so that was good. There was a 5-6 years ago, a bridge in Minnesota collapsed, and I think some people drove into the body of water that it was supposed to take them across and died. And so there was a lot of publicity. Well, it was being repaired, and the company that was managing the restoration of the bridge, the symbol was ACN. This is an infrastructure company, engineering services, management. They manage these projects. Some have to do with transportation infrastructure. Some may have to do with energy. This is a company with about $9 billion in sales, which makes it a small infrastructure company. It's smaller than Fluor or and the reason I'm mentioning it is because I've looked at the first call estimates. First call gets a consensus of earnings. They go to people who follow companies, the brokerage firms, and then they calculate the average prediction. And Acom is predicted next year to make like 220, 230. It was a $20 stock last time I looked. It may be a little higher now, but it'll be back down. And 270, 280 in 13. Well, I don't believe those numbers. I mean, I believe the analysts are, fucked up as always. However, it's fascinating. Their backlogs are up. I mean, they have business in Europe. I mean, the European governments can't, I'm not sure they can afford to repair a bridge. or if they can, they may not be able to afford to build a new one. And that's the kind of stuff that Acom does. So with my pessimistic view, I don't know. But I haven't watched this damn thing. Because if they do earn 280 in 13, this is a buy. I love infrastructure stocks. I mean, it's like they do real things. It's not like Team Fashions or buying Procter & Gamble products for twice the house brand, or all the other kinds of stuff that in the U.S. passes for economic activity. Just like I like oil. My love affair with natural gas ended a couple of years ago. I mean, I had been, it had broken my heart since the 70s. And from what I can tell, American large companies in the U.S. that drill into shale are so good at it now that we're going to have gas up the ass for a long time. And yeah, we're going to ship it abroad. We're going to sell it to the, to name your third world country that's going to buy it from us. But that stuff's out like 2020. I mean, we're not even going to have significant facilities for liquefying natural gas until 2016, when the first ones come online. I got that from Charlie Maxwell. Okay. Let me recommend that if you want to get something. Now, you may only get one kernel, one idea per day on financial TV. And if you're a trader, you're looking for, what's moved, you can get that on Twitter. Like, buy this. I'm not talking about that. So there's a program at noon Eastern time. My time is Central, which would be 11. Surveillance on Bloomberg and taking stock. That would be 3 Eastern, 4 Central on Bloomberg. And CNBC, Fast Money. Fast Money gives you a feel for what's going on. Unless you're a trader, you can't use their advice literally. But they have guests. And the fast-moving nature makes it entertaining. And they have basically strong MCs that can keep the thing moving. So it's on at 11 Central Time, CNBC, and 4 o'clock Central Time, CNBC. And maybe the thing from 8 to 11 Central Time, which is called Squawk on the Street. Cramer adds something to that. Cramer's program is not particularly good. However, you don't know how hard it is to do a program by yourself with no audience on TV. I mean, that's so hard. And none of the other people on either station have to do that. Okay, so economics is not about sorting out the fuckors from the fuckies. And that's what you get. That's what's reported. what's going to happen in Europe, what's going to happen in the economy here. Remember, the statistics are wrong. The GDP estimates don't mean anything. It's not only that the numbers are miscalculated, because they're hard to calculate, but conceptually it's meaningless. Also, the stuff about policy, it's gotten that everything is going so badly that people can come on TV and say anything. And, and because they feel like they have just as much right to bullshit on TV as anybody else. There was a program on taking stock, I think it was the Friday before November 15th. And there was a very successful mutual fund manager, maybe a value manager, and an economist whose name I can't even remember. And this manager said, you know, at some times in our history we've had higher savings and we've had higher investments and we've had more prosperity and more growth. Why can't we do it again? Instead of worrying about bolstering consumption, which is just temporary. And the economist said to him, I think it's okay to bolster consumption. And he said, well, it hadn't worked. Well, I mean, that's the kind of thing. Worked when? And so the guy said, we had 2.5% growth in the third quarter. Get with it. That was great. I mean, he put the guy down. But in fact, what people do is pick out one variable, one time period, and cite it. Like when you give an example, you prove something. This is bullshit. An example is a way for you to understand better what something looks like tangibly, how human beings are behaving. And generally, the American economy puts out stuff that people believe they want, because the human mind plays tricks, but it plays different tricks in different cultures. And I'm tired of hearing the poor people who got mortgages and who were spending all their time counting their winnings when they flipped their houses, or the poor mortgage bankers who had regulations. I mean, we don't have enough good regulation, and we have too much bad regulation, and nobody gives a shit about the difference. And we have too much unproductive output. That is the entire financial section, which is simply you market lies to people who don't know any better. So I would say economics is about coming up with tools that people enjoy using to create economic value, create products that have a shot at prolonging the enjoyment of life and enjoy producing. Because if it comes from you, it may be important. I mean, if you're a medical scientist, for example, you're going to have trouble getting a job